Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins, and Bill Flitter.
And then against a 2-3, nothing actually, I think I have that in here. Nothing changes for me on a 2-3. 2-3 is the easiest one to run.
And the down screens happen on those bottom two defenders there again, I see.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see here on this one, right? You just set those down screens, come up, ball handoff. What happens is you're just getting, okay, old school way, prior to the blitz. Overload one side, fast passes, penetrate the gaps, swing passes. That's how we would teach.
We have a gaps play. That's our,
Yeah, so that's what we used to teach against how do you beat a zone, right? Just simple principles. Now we're doing the exact same thing, but we're doing it with ball handoffs and down screens. That's it. Yep. So, I have typically in most programs, right, especially at the club level, they have 2 practices a week, an hour and a half each, right? So you got a lot of stuff you got to shove in a short period of time. And, I don't want to learn a new zone offense, right? So I'd rather tweak the offense I have. But against the 2-3, it really doesn't change that much. What we see is it ends up literally once you get a couple swings going, you end up having a big gap here. And what happens then is if you can penetrate this gap, what our players do, I have this on here. Sort of, kind of. So what happens, this is a better illustration here. Okay, so as 5 is getting the ball, they're going to be dribbling this way, right, into this, and they see this gap. Well, what happens then is this draws X5 pretty tight, and 3 sneaks behind X4 and literally is open all the time. X4 loses 3 because they're so focused on the ball. And remember, this was swinging back and forth, side to side a little bit.
They kind of slowly come up.
They slowly come up, and there's this gap behind them. I can't tell you how many. Yeah, I can't tell me how many layups. So
amazing.
Yeah, so on recap, 2-3, don't change a thing, just run the blitz, keeping the ball handoff side to side. Sometimes you'll see that they'll try to jump it, but then you use messy keeper, which is in here too.
How do you do that also? I'd love to go over that with you again if you have time.
Messy keeper?
Yeah, I'd love to see that again.
Sure. Yep. Let's see here. It's down.
So that's when they get kind of a little too far over the top, right? And we can't make a good handoff.
You can't make a handoff.
Or a clean handoff, I should say.
Yeah. Do I have that on? I know I have it here. There it is. Okay. Yeah, so basically what you're doing here is you can't do a handoff because three's defender gets between the ball and their man, right? So they're hugging their man, so you can't do the ball handoff. So pretty simple. What one does is they just make a huge pivot. Well, let me back up. What I teach is this. If three sees that, if they know they're not going to get the ball handoff, they literally run their player, because it acts like a screen, into, in this case, who's got the ball? One. So one acts as a screen, even though they have the ball. So they kind of drive them right into it. And as that's happening, one pivots towards the basket, three comes right off their shoulder, and they're wide open most of the time. And then if they're not, they might get a bounce pass or over the top. They have a kick out situation to anybody that's over here.
So they would come almost a little tighter than like a little tighter than they are in the diagram, right? More to the
Yeah,
right.
and they're literally just like coming off of a screen. Just think about it that way. They're coming off of a screen. In this case, it's with the ball handler, and they're the screener. But what's important is, remember, the ball handler is kind of facing the ball handler in this case to start if you look at this arrow, they're facing here, right? Then they have to turn their body into three's defender, and now they're facing the basket.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a nice little way to get the ball in the lane.
Awesome. Here's a good question. So,
Yeah.
and this could be for coaches too that are new to the Blitz. How do you teach? Because I'm gonna be installing the Blitz with my lower school team too.
Yeah. Oh, I just lost you, coach.
Sure.
And while you're fixing your volume, one of the other things I want to talk about in a 2-3 zone, or any zone for that matter, is to always look for that high-low.
Can you hear me now? Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you're good. I'm going to go back to the 2-3 zone here.
No worries.
Real
So
quick.
My question was,
Yeah.
real fast. How do you teach sealing, the screen and the seal? Like, obviously we all, we know how to teach a screen, but how do you teach? What's your favorite way, or some of your favorite ways to teach? Like, okay, I'm going to set that screen and now I'm going to seal my defender.
Yeah. Honestly, just repetition. And I always start, just open up towards the ball every single time after your player passes you, just to get that in their head. Like, okay, I'm going to down screen, for the person, and then I'm going to open up and seal. What I teach them to listen for is switch. If they're switching, if the defense is switching, boom, that's an automatic seal situation. Even if they never get the ball, or if they get the ball 2 out of 10 times, awesome.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to get, yeah.
I tell my kids too, like, it's about, when I was teaching it, like, I just kind of, I haven't taught it. I teach it like posting up and stuff, but in the context of this offense, it's a little different, right?
Yeah.
I would teach them to really try to get that inside position, but even yelling, saying, "Hey, ball, ball, ball," it just draws the defense that way, even for a half a second, and that could open up another handoff, or open up a back cut or backdoor cut, right, coming from the other way. And just those kinds of things. The vocal to be vocal, it's helped us a lot with that.
Yeah, it's just a matter of reps, because at first we have this particular player. She is really good at the down screen, seal, and open up, and I would say she's got to be open 8 out of 10 times. Well, we missed her 8 out of 10 times. You know what I mean? And so now I just got them in the habit, as they come up and get that ball handoff, just take a look down. Just I know there's might be a little pressure on you, but you got to keep your head up, see if she's open. She may be open right before you do the ball handoff, and you kind of just circle back and see if you can hit her. It is, especially on switches, it is open so much. And it's just repetition of just having the kids peer and look. And right, if now also if I see it happening a lot, and if for whatever reason that particular defender is just not trying to fight and they're just sitting there, I will, at a timeout or a halftime or whatever, I'll just say, just look for it before you even do the ball handoff. Just look for that high low right away,
Yeah.
and see if we can hit her because she's always open, right? Or I call it, or I'll yell from the sidelines the person's name on offense,
Yeah.
right? So they can that usually works because they oh, they know who obviously she is, but coach doesn't know that's not a play, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So there's little tricks like that, but it's just it's a lot of reps. You see it, you're open in the 2-3 zone a lot that way. Most zones, if you're down screening, if they're switching on defense, right? Which most defenses now switch. Oh, it works nicely. Yeah.
Absolutely. It took us, like you said, I mean, it takes sometimes, and I tell the coaches out there, like sometimes it took us like the seal part of it, hitting that roller and that sealer. You even saw from the clips I sent you early on the air, that was like second game of the year, or third game of the year. The
Yeah.
ones I sent you had mentioned me in a comment like, hey, make sure you're looking for the seal, right?
Yeah.
And it's super important, but it takes, like you said, it took us like maybe 3-4 weeks to really start to, okay, now we can, when they take it away, the seal is going to be open, usually, or look for that option early off the handoff, off the DHO.
Yeah.
Kind of stick with it because it will come eventually. And it's a super important part of the offense to screen and seal to draw the
Yeah.
defense minimally. It draws the defense to that player a little bit for half a second longer on the weak side.
Yeah. And then, if it's not there, then they just move out and go out wide again, right? Because I want that low defender just occupied so they can't play help, right? That opens up the gap in the middle then on the ball side, right? As they're coming. So that's the other reason why you want to do that too. Um, anyway, other questions?
I think on the blitz,
Hmm.
that was pretty much all I had.
Yeah.
We love it. We love, maybe, oh, you know what? Can we, one other thing. We did a little bit of this too, twist
Oh, uh-huh.
as a
Yeah.
counter. Maybe we could
Yeah.
go over that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So last night, it's so awesome when you get the blitz going. So my eighth grade team has been running it for 3 years, and I don't have to call anything. And that's my goal. I want them to read, right? To read the game. So the twist for whatever reason, what they saw was and we were just in a scrimmage against another team in the gym at the time, and twist was working and they were hitting that person. Now, I think where twist really comes in handy too is when you're starting to run the pattern, right? Down screen, three comes up, gets the ball handoff, and you're doing that back and forth. The defense gets lazy. So in this case, let's say they're yelling switch, so two's defender stays, and they stay high because 10 times before, that's where three went. And that's when she makes that read. And she just twists around and she's usually open because this is going to be a huge gap right here. Because remember the actions that's happening, it's a down screen, possible seal, occupying the help defender, right?
Yep.
Um, so that's
We
why, and
call
then
this when they
three
would cheat. We would call this when they would cheat that play. When they would cheat the play, like
when they
really
would cheat
set
the
the
play.
ball
Yep, exactly. Yep, yeah.
wide open.
Wide open. Now, the other beautiful thing about this too that I don't want to ignore is um, two coming up on twist than to receive the ball handoff if three didn't get the ball initially, because then that keeps the continuity of the offense going. Um, and
And
then
do
yeah.
your girls real quick, do they
Mhm.
twist the whole time or do they go from twist as like an early action and then back into the traditional blitz?
Yeah, it's a read. So whenever they see it, they'll try it and see if they can. And I'm trying to get them into the habit of if they see it, number three calling out twist, right? And then one should know, oh, okay, she's going over the top of that screen and just going to go to the block area. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I was calling it from the sidelines, but it's much better if the players call it. So I like
Again,
that.
that did not happen overnight, and
Oh,
it's
it
not
didn't.
going to
Okay. This
happen
is after a
overnight.
while. Okay. I
Yeah,
got
so
you.
it took some time to, and I always think about these things as layer cakes. Like why I am teaching the Blitz to my club program. There's a bunch of coaches in there. When we have third grade all the way through eighth grade, and there's brand new coaches in there, don't know it. Brand new players don't know it, and I taught the third and fourth graders in one practice the base level,
Mhm.
right? And at that age, the base level, and if I taught them nothing new, right, it works even at that, just at the base level, because you create those big gaps. And even against a zone, as you know, in fourth grade, zone defense isn't necessarily, the
Yeah.
toughest, right? It's almost kind of like a lazy man, right? So you start creating gaps. And then definitely at the fourth grade level, if a coach is sitting in a zone, right, we'll immediately go into volley.
Maybe we could go over that one. Oh, that was the first play.
That
Top
was
of
just
the
the back and forth, right? Just
Got it.
back
Yeah.
and forth until they come out of the zone. My girls, they love it. They absolutely love it. They're like, "Oh, this is a great trick, coach," right? And I
Yeah.
said, "Don't worry, you won't sit there very long because there's no coach in America that is patient enough just to have
Yeah.
you guys throw the ball back and forth."
They say,
So
go trap, go
go
get the ball.
trout, yeah, go get
Yeah.
the ball, right? So and then that's when we strike, and then the zone is broke. So. Um, Anything else about twist? I guess one thing too, just on the general blitz, and maybe you're doing this too. Um, let's look here on this one. So you have you got your ball hand if you're down screens, right? Four finds the gap and penetrates, right? So what you make sure five in this case, someone's calling top. I got top. That's a huge piece of it because you got top as a kick out or in transition defense. Um, but how do you determine who's got top? It's usually going to be, in this case, kind of weak side. But even if that's hard to teach, I've never run into a problem. What happens is somebody will call top and run to the top. Even if two people do, I just tell them if two people are there, just send them to the boards. Like just say, hey, no, you go to the boards, right? Rebound. Or they're smart enough. I don't know. Or even one of them, they see, like if two decides they're 2 and 5 are calling top, one of them will recognize, oh, they already got it, and they'll go rebound. I don't run into it too much, but as an issue, I guess it's better to have two on the top than none on the top. But I like to send four to the boards if I could,
Yeah,
right?
me too.
Yeah.
But just so there's someone back there in case of a long miss or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. Like you got five for a kick out, or you got five in transition defense, right? If we're sending four to the board.
Excellent.
Right. So you can see that here. Four gets the rebound, five's got the kick out, and then you're right back into the offense.
Yep.
Okay. Other
Thank you for sharing
questions?
that.
Yeah.
It's
Also
awesome.
look in your playbook. I've added new uh, a few new wrinkles. Um, to it. Some quick hitters, slip is one of them. Um, it's, in this particular case, two is coming up looking like a double screen and then just slips that screen. Sometimes you can mix it up a little bit. There's the ghost handoff too that works really nice. So you're really not doing a handoff. You're just getting around the corner if you see that big gap and just attacking the gap. Right. So we'll call out ghost. Um,
Mhm. Yeah,
but
we
yeah,
we
just a
caught we had
couple.
a ghost call from the sidelines too that we would do when we were getting like really face guarded.
Mm-hmm.
You could just ghost a player from the sideline or whatever. But eventually, I want like with the other calls, like I want my players to just naturally with time, and being comfortable with the offense, just being able to make that read on their own and get those calls down. Hopefully
Yeah,
we'll be able to get that in with time.
one important piece too that I'll stress. Okay, so you can see here ball's going left. So 4 is, using the screen coming up to get the ball handoff. Okay. So what does 3 do? 3 and 5 wait. So you got to teach patience on the weak side. And remember, this is so what happens then? Okay. So 3 and 5 just down here, you know, they're down there just creating this, right? To create this huge gap. They're patient. Well, what do you think their defenders are doing? They're also down there, right? Because they don't know what's going to happen next. And if they're not down there, then it creates a scoring opportunity. But they're waiting and just being patient. 5 has got at this point, it's got their butt to the sideline, and they're kind of doing this back and forth motion, just a little bit rocking, like, because they got to be ready to go. So the signal for me is when 2, or in this case 4, gets this ball handoff. If you don't see them turning in, or if you see them turning and bouncing, you're sprinting. You're full out sprint to get the ball. Now we go from a dribble handoff, right? Jump stop, 2 feet down, hand the ball off. As they progress, it's a pitch. So we're throwing the ball to 5. Yep. And that's when the magic happens, because 5 should be on a dead out sprint and to be able to turn the corner and get downhill. And as you know, coach, I'd rather have them try to get downhill and fail and come back out just to collapse the defense and see what we can create some other opportunities, right? I mean, yes, I want them to go all the way. That's not what I meant. But if they try, at least try, not just come back out or, pivot and pass out and start the whole process again. So
that was an issue also we had with our JV guys when they first learned it. A lot of brand new players,
yeah,
not a lot of experience. They would oftentimes with the blitz, they wouldn't get downhill into that triple gap. They go too wide if there's a defender on them. But just like you said, continuing to teach that aggressive nature. That's okay. Even if we go and we get one dribble,
1 foot, yeah, it's okay.
1 foot in the top of that half circle there, that's a win. One dribble.
Yeah, you know what too is really important. I don't think I have this in here, and it just reminded me I need to add this in, which is okay. So you just reminded me of something. So a lot of times what happens, 5 is coming up, their defender pushes them really high, right?
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this. Yeah. So what I tell them is immediate back cut. Immediately. You don't want the ball, you don't want to get a dribble handoff other than at the 3-point line. Or a pitch, right? Just outside of that, just a foot or so. But if you're getting the dribble handoff up here, just back cut. Live another day. Let's start ghost now, set your down screen and see what we can do next. A lot of times that back cut is open.
Wide open.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind too. So 2 things there to recap is patience. For 5, they're waiting to see what 4 is going to do. Are they going to try to drive? Because if they come too soon, their defender now has a good chance to be right here into help, which we don't want. So we're waiting. And then 2, if the 5's defender is pushing them high, then just back cut.
Yep.
Okay. Make sense?
Excellent. Yeah, makes sense. Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah. All right, what's next, Coach? What else can I help you with? You had a couple other questions.
Maybe this would be better for a different call because it's more defense, but I'd love to learn your version of the run and jump.
Yeah.
Something I really didn't grow up a lot with. When I played high school, we didn't do the run and jump. It was more zone presses. And I like to teach things that I really, really know, either learning it from somebody like you, an expert, or having done it myself for many years, So I'd love to do another call on the run and jump, like from the beginning, the down and the drills, and how to teach it kind of at that middle school level. But thank you for breaking down the blitz. It's always great to review and learn more. And I love the offense. Can't get enough of it. Like I said, it's helped our team. Even just at the base level, we've increased our offense.
Awesome.
From last year to this year.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and One other thing, that we do as part of the Blitz is we work on a lot of finishing moves, right?
Yeah.
So those are in here, the shooting drills too. Every day we call them our daily vitamins. It's a minute for each of these. Nash 2, Nash 1, floaters, the peak and pivots, reverse layups. Every day we do those 1 minute on each of those. It takes 5 minutes. The kids get up lots of shots in a short period of time. Of course, we're working on, threes and, outside jumpers as well. But just keep that in mind too. That all those little details help in trying to get a little bit better with the
Sure.
Blitz.
Yeah, I didn't see these, so I'm looking forward to reviewing it and learning it. And I just bought the materials a few weeks ago, so I still need to really get into them. And everything I've learned from you has just been from YouTube mostly. So
Oh, are you serious? Oh, wow, that's
yeah,
funny.
I've looked into it a
Oh,
little. I've looked at this a little bit here and
yeah.
there, but like I wanted to learn more about it and get the full package and things and just see what it's all about. So even more so into more detail. So yeah, I mean, I love all this stuff. This is great.
Yeah, and with your if you said you like to run fast and you guys are quick, right? You can really
Yeah.
cause a lot of havoc for the defense to try to keep up with that too. So yeah. All right, Coach. Perfect. I
Yeah.
appreciate you taking the time today, and I'm hopefully that was a great session for you and learned a few things, and we can come back to the run and jump on the next call.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here, and thank you so much, Coach Flitter, for all your material, and look forward to connecting again. Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you, Coach.
Well, man.
Good
Take
luck.
care.
Keep on
Thank you. Bye.
keep on fighting the fight out there, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
If your brain is at full capacity with to-dos, birthdays, and dinner plans, meet Skylight Calendar. It syncs your entire family's schedule onto a sleek digital display, so you focus on important things like where you left your coffee. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/talk. Go to skylightcal.com/talk for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That's skylightcal.com/talk.